I would like to thank AIOS, KLB team, Namrata ma'am, Rohit sir, and all the panelists here for giving me this opportunity to talk on biomechanics and topography, the need of the hour. So we all know that topography and tomography has been the gold standard when it comes to doing your refractive surgery. And off lately, yes, biomechanics is also picking up its role, and the how important it is for us to have biomechanics incorporated with our tomography to have a higher sensitivity and specificity when we are choosing our case, what to do, when not to do. So biomechanics have different principles. They are of either tangent modulus, which are the Young's modulus, or the bulk modulus, or they are dependent on the secants modulus, which are the shear modulus and the Poisson's ratio. So all our machines are based on that. But for the interest of this session, I'm going to be talking about Corvus ST. So now Corvus is a Scheimpflug based device, which gives us multiple parameters. Like, it just doesn't give you one biomechanical parameter. It gives multiple parameters, like in the form of dynamic corneal response. It gives you the deflection and the deformation amplitude. It gives you the CBI and the TBI values. And it also now helps us in a biomechanical comparative display, like how we just compare the topographies. So this is the dynamic corneal response map, where you can see how the deformation amplitude is, the applanation length, corneal velocity, the arc length, and what is the DA ratio. So basically, any deformation value, amplitude value, they say that below 1.2 would be like the cornea is stronger. Anything less than 1.2, that means the cornea is a little bit on the weaker side, and you need other parameters to take care of it. But however, it has to be correlated to your corneal thickness, because thinner the cornea, weaker your biomechanics would be. So that might be a pseudo positive result. So you have to take your corneal thickness also into consideration. The next very important map is the Vinciguerra screening report, which gives us a lot of information now. It gives you an information about the CBI, which is the Corvus Biomechanical Index. Corvus Biomechanical Index is nothing, it is but a combined parameter which takes into consideration 4 other parameters: the deformation amplitude, the integrated radius, the Ambrosius relational thickness, and the stiffness parameter. And stiffness parameter is one of the most important parameter, because that is the pressure during the first applanation movement divided by the corneal displacement. So it basically gives you a lot of information, and all these 4 parameters combine to give you a CBI value, which is the Corvus Biomechanical Index. So Corvus Biomechanical Index, if it is combined with the BAD-D, like with your tomography parameter, the BAD-D, it gives you the total biomechanical index. Now there are some cutoff values for your CBI and TBI. If the CBI cutoff value is, it is 0.28 for suspicious corneas, and above 0.5 would be abnormal. And in TBI also 0.25 would, below 0.25 is normal, 0.25 to 0.5 is suspicious, and above that is abnormal. And they said that it has a very work done by Professor Vinciguerra and et al. And team. They say that the sensitivity and specificity is extremely good for this CBI and TBI related parameters. So basically, these 2 parameters along with your tomography tells you a lot when to operate, when not to operate. The other new index came into picture is the stress strain index. Now, stress strain index is nothing but based on the Young's modulus, and it gives you, it is derived and validated, like it is kind of a finite element simulation based parameter. So it is, what it is finite element simulation? It is nothing but it divides your surface into multiple small objects, and it measures the strength of each of that object, and it gives you a value whether it is normal or not. And the curves are representative of the intrinsic elastic properties of the cornea. The advantage here, it is less dependent on your corneal thickness and IOP, which is like an advantage of these parameters. So the normal value is 1. This is also age related, and a normal population, normal value is based on your adult population. So any normal value, any value less than 1, it means it's softer. Any more value more than 1, it means it's stiffer. But the main advantage of SSI comes in your comparisons. So after any either your patient is on a watch, you've kept the patient under observation due to any condition, and you want, when the patient comes in for the next time, you want to see whether he has progressed or not, or whether you are trying to compare the LASIK outcomes or the cross-linking outcomes. This is parameter is important because you can compare two visits and you can see if the cornea has become softer, whether there is no change, or whether this cornea has become stiffer. So corneal biomechanical comparison displays just like our pentacam, and it gives you a lot of information. So now let's come to this case scenarios. If your all parameters are normal, or if they're all abnormal, we know what we are dealing with. But the confusion comes in when you're bad, like, one of your parameters is suspicion and others are normal. And here all, like, your badly is normal, but others are suspicious. So what are we dealing with? That is the main focus of a corneal biomechanics. So it is just like six blind men and an elephant. We are either looking at topography, either biomechanics, either two of them, and we are missing all of that. So we need to look at a complete picture and not just one parameter of it. So I'm going to go case-based approach to say that how these indices are very good and how it can help in our practice and not demotivate us. So let's see one case example. Normal topography, bad D is suspicious, CBI is normal. Here bad D is normal and CBI is normal. So we did an epithelial mapping. My colleague is just for our interest. This is nothing to do with pentacam, but just for our interest, what is happening here. We saw here that there was some little bit of hypoplasia present here, but no stromal or anterior elevation was present and no posterior elevation was present. So we know that what these parameters are saying are something normal. So just for our interest, we did we started imaging the collagen, which tries to tell us that what is the structure, orientation, and arrangement of the collagen in the cornea now. And this collagen is mainly responsible for the strength of the cornea, which is given by the biomechanics. So this is just a normal orientation of how the collagen fibers are in the cornea, and this is how your PSOC collagen orientation looks like. Just to simplify, more or denser the blue, it means the tighter the orientation and arrangement is, the lighter or the green or yellow or red it happens, it means it's towards the weaker side. So this is how your normal maps look like. So this patient had suspicious bad D, but the CBI index was normal. So what is there something abnormal we are dealing with? Let's see at the PSOCT. PSOCT, you can see a nice dark blue color here and here. That means this cornea is a strong cornea, and what CBI is trying to tell you is an absolute truth. If you go ahead and do a surgery for this patient, you would not land up in a problem and you would be in safe hands. So CBI is actually trying to tell you the truth here. The second case here is, one eye CBI is abnormal, bad Ds are normal, and the other eye CBI is absolutely normal. I'll just go into PSOCT. This is how the PSOCT looks like. If you can see here, it's completely normal. It's a denser blue area here. So what are we missing? What is the missing link here? As I said, this gives a corrected, like the Pachy corrected IOP. The SSI is normal here if you see in the weaker eye. But the IOP in the right eye where the CBI is abnormal is 7.5. And the CBI where it is normal, it is just 18 and 18.4. So I just want to highlight one point here that, even if your IOP is different in both the eyes, if it is not captured correctly somehow because of patient non-compliance or something, then also it can give you a pseudo false CBI. So always go, if there is a discrepancy, always go back and check IOP. If there is a discrepancy in the IOP, always repeat the measurement before taking a call what you're dealing with. The third case is, again, you're badly suspicious, CBI suspicious, TBI is normal. PSOCT, okay, like I want to add to the point, yes, your PSOCT is also on the little bit on the weaker side. Left eye is normal, which is a little bit correlating with your CBI parameters. So again, here, just to stress the point, CBI is telling you the correct truth. But how do we know that our PSOCT and the CBI parameters are normal or not? We just tried to study the molecular markers for this patient, where intraoperatively we collected the epithelium of the patient, and it was checked for gene expression analysis to see how the molecular markers are and whether our CBI and PSOCT is telling us the truth or not. So if you can see here, weak PSOCT, CBI on the weaker side, the LOX and the collagen levels are actually on the lower side compared to that of normals, and compared to here also, if you can see, everything is normal and your LOX and collagen are within normal limits. So basically just trying to say here that your CBI is trying to tell you the truth, and we should probably rely on it, making sure the sensitive the quality of scans are okay. This is just my last scan for today. Yes, every machine we need to look into details. CBI is normal, badly it's towards the suspicious side. PSOCT is on the weaker side. So this is one case where, yes, we need to be a little bit watchful, and sometimes we have to dig in deeper. This is also a software, AI-based prediction. It tries to predict the post-op stiffness of the cornea. Like basically will tell you that which procedure is best for your patient, whether to do SMILE, whether to do LASIK, whether to do PRK, and will you be in safe hands post-surgery or not. So it takes Pentacam and Corvus into consideration, and it creates a mesh-like model, and it tells you what the it predicts basically the post-op stiffness for you. And this is how the software looks like. You enter all your flap cap thickness, procedure, you take the Pentacam and Corvus CSVs into consideration and add your parameters here. And it gives you the report in newtons per meter. Newtons per meter is nothing like a spring like of a mechanism, so it actually tells you the actual strength of the cornea. And just to show that if it's towards the periphery, it's a lot towards the outside side of the bell curve, it means that it is on the weaker side, and probably you would like to avoid doing a surgery for this patient. And I'm happy to announce that this software is right now, we are collaborated with Oculus, and they are soon going to have it in their Pentacam software and Pentacam and Corvus software. And you don't need a computer for it. You just need to click on the software in the Pentacam and you can get these results. So this is just a simple nomogram of what the structure, like your BAD-Ds, your CBI, your TBI are, and based on that, what procedure you can do. If everything is normal, you can go ahead and do any refractive surgery of your choice. If BAD-D is suspicious, but the other parameters are normal, you can go ahead and do a PRK or SMILE extra. If BAD-D is normal, but your CBI is on the weaker side, that means your cornea is on the weaker side. And if you do any LASIK-based procedure, you might land up in a complication. So here you would do a PRK or a SMILE extra or a phakic-IOL, depending on the refractive error you have. And if everything is suspicious, you go ahead and do a phakic-IOL. So basically, the idea here of the tomography and the biomechanics is not to scare you or not to reduce your practice. With just this simple nomogram and all your indices, you can actually segregate your patients in which category they fall and which procedure would be the best for your patient. I would like to thank my team here to help me with this presentation and the wonderful work.